the things that make us unique and special is actually difficult to detect. It's very easy to look at somebody and say this is a human being. They walk like one, they have two legs, two eyes, they can speak, whatever the case might be, like very obvious stuff. But when you look at the things that we use to differentiate one another empirically or stuff or generally, they are actually really difficult to spot, right? You have to use like advanced technology and have some trust, you know, in that technology as well, to actually find those differences. Hello, and welcome to another episode of New Day, Same B.S. My name is CT, and on this episode, I was looking to basically get into an interesting kind of conversation for me, right? Which is the conversation about how similar and how different are we as human beings in general. And when I was thinking about that whole thing about how similar and how different we are, it actually occurred to me that we are more similar, and I think it's more acceptable that we are more similar than we're actually different. And if you look at it, the general things or the obvious things that make us human beings are general with every race, every religion in general, right? And they're easily identifiable and they're obvious, right? We all have skin, we have two ears, two eyes, most cases, two hands, legs. We have most often than not the same reproductive process, digestive system, and all that, right? So there are obvious things that actually make us similar. In general, human beings are similar, right? If you make it broader, then we're like animals, right? There's some similarities, maybe not all of it. And then if you even make it broader, then we're living things. Some similarities also with like plants and stuff like that. So when I actually looked at it, like we are pretty similar, right? And also there are unique things about us. But it's also to me obvious that the things that make us unique and special is actually difficult to detect. It's very easy to see the things that make us humans, right? It's very easy to look at somebody and say this is a human being. They walk like one, they have two legs, two eyes, they can speak, whatever the case might be, like very obvious stuff. But when you look at the things that we use to differentiate one another empirically or stuff or generally, they are actually really difficult to spot, right? You have to use like advanced technology and have some trust, in that technology as well, to actually find those differences. And a few examples is your thumbprint. If you look at somebody's thumb, well, it looks alike most often than not. You can't easily distinguish two people's by looking at maybe a thumb and say like, okay, I can tell for sure that it's this person. There are more similar people that would look similar. But when you put a thumbprint through a machine, then it's everybody's thumbprint is unique, right? But that means it's very difficult to actually differentiate, and we actually have to use technology to make a clear difference for that. The other example is like retina scans, right? You look at people's eyes. Yeah, there are some differences like eye color and stuff like that. But where you have a huge group that has the same eye color and stuff like that, then it is actually more difficult now to distinguish between people. But when you actually do retina scans, you can now use technology and very little details to actually distinguish between people, right? And actually that's now unique to each individual. Then you can find those differences. But now we also need technology and a lot of trust in that technology to identify that uniqueness. And the third example would be DNA test. You wouldn't most times identify people easily or their DNA by just looking at them, feeling them, touching them, and being around them. Like when it comes to DNA sequence and stuff like that. But with technology and really powerful like testing tools, now we can differentiate between people and actually do TNA tests and identify lineages and stuff like that, um, because of technology and also trust. So in general, what I'm trying to say, that the ability for you to uh, differentiate one human from another is not as obvious and common as people make it out to be. We are basically very similar in a lot of ways. The colors might be different, your eye color, your skin color, and maybe the shape of your face, and your height and stuff like that. Might be different, but in the bigger scale, it's easy to identify who a human is and the things that actually make us similar. But for the things that make us different, the things that make us unique, the things that make us special, that actually takes a whole lot more screening, technology, and a whole lot more work to actually identify. And one way I like to relate it is when people think it is easy to identify between good and bad and stuff like that. It's not that easy to identify. It will take a lot of scrutiny and a lot of effort and a lot of time to be able to really differentiate between two of them, because those acts are still done by human being, and it can come in various forms, perspective, and context as well. So in general, what I'm saying is that it's easy to identify us as humans and flawed and great and all that, but the things that actually make us unique on any scale, good, bad, and stuff, is not as easy to identify in general for people. And I think it's important that we actually know that people kind of rush by seeing somebody, hearing them talk, hearing some sweet words, whatever they want to hear, having an idea of what it should be, and you hear it for the first time for a few years, and you think you've figured it out. It's not as easy to figure out things that actually make us unique and special. Most often than not, you're more of a norm than not, in general in society. If you got here, thank you. Don't forget, hit the like, subscribe, and share, and also comment on the post. I want to hear what you guys are saying about these conversations. Actually, I just want to have an idea, and especially if you disagree, I want to understand why you do as well. And if you agree, I also want to hear why as well. My name is CT. Thank you and peace.